In a small town tucked between wide streets and rows of quiet houses, life moved at an unhurried pace. Mornings began with the sound of birds, children walking to school with backpacks bouncing on their shoulders, and shopkeepers unlocking their doors with familiar routines. It was the kind of place where everyone seemed to know one another, and where change happened slowly, almost invisibly. In one of those houses lived a 12-year-old boy named Lucas. Lucas was tall for his age, full of energy, and always eager to be outside. While many of his classmates preferred video games or television, Lucas loved movement. He loved the feeling of his heart racing, the sound of his breath as he ran, and most of all, he loved basketball. Every afternoon after school, as soon as his homework was finished, Lucas grabbed his worn basketball and headed to the community court, just a few blocks from his house. The court wasn't anything special. Cracked concrete, faded lines, and a hoop that leaned slightly to the left. But to Lucas it felt like the most important place in the world. There he practiced for hours. He practiced dribbling until his palms burned, shooting until the sun dipped low in the sky, and running drills he had learned by watching older players. He practiced not because anyone told him to, but because he loved it. Time seemed to disappear when he played. At school, however, Lucas faced a different reality. Math class was his greatest struggle. Numbers felt cold and confusing. Formulas slipped through his mind, and no matter how hard he tried, his test scores rarely improved. Sitting at his desk, staring at equations on the board, Lucas often felt a heavy knot in his chest. He tried to pay attention, he really did, but his mind wandered and frustration followed him home. One afternoon, Lucas returned from school more quietly than usual. Instead of heading straight to the court, he dropped his backpack by the door and collapsed onto the couch, his math test folded tightly in his hand. His father, Daniel, noticed immediately. Daniel was a calm, thoughtful man who worked as a carpenter. His hands were rough from years of labor, but his voice was gentle and his eyes carried a quiet patience. When he saw Lucas sitting there in silence, he knew something was wrong. Sitting beside him, Daniel asked if it had been a rough day. Lucas hesitated, then handed over the test. The red marks were hard to miss. He explained that he had studied, that he really tried, but it was never enough, and that his friend Ethan always seemed to score the highest without much effort. Daniel listened carefully. He didn't rush to comfort or correct his son. Instead, he stood up and invited Lucas to follow him into the backyard. The backyard was small but peaceful, with a modest garden filled with herbs and vegetables Daniel had planted himself. The late afternoon sun filtered through the trees, casting long shadows across the grass. Sitting on the wooden bench, Daniel spoke calmly. He told Lucas that life would teach him many lessons, some easy and some painful, and that today he would learn 3 important ones, not through words alone, but through experience. Curious despite his disappointment, Lucas agreed to listen. For the first lesson, Daniel asked Lucas to invite Ethan to play basketball with him the next day. Lucas was surprised, but agreed. After school the following afternoon, the 2 boys met at the court. Ethan was excited but nervous, as basketball had never been his strength. Once the game started, the difference between them was clear. Lucas moved with confidence, his body responding naturally from years of practice. He scored again and again, leading his team with ease. Ethan tried his best but struggled, missing passes, losing control of the ball, and growing tired quickly. Still, he laughed, encouraged others, and enjoyed the game until it ended. That evening, Lucas returned home full of excitement and told his father everything, from the goals he scored to Ethan's mistakes. Daniel listened, then asked how Ethan had felt. Lucas paused and realized that Ethan hadn't seemed upset at all. Daniel explained that this was the first lesson. Everyone has different strengths. Ethan was excellent at math, just as Lucas excelled at basketball. People are not meant to be the same, and comparison without understanding only steals joy. The next evening, Daniel gave Lucas his second challenge. He asked him to observe Ethan at school the following day and notice how often he used numbers, even outside of class. Lucas did as instructed. He noticed Ethan solving puzzles during breaks, helping classmates with homework, counting steps as he walked, and calculating scores during games. When Lucas shared his observations, Daniel smiled and explained the second lesson. People become good at what they practice regularly, often without realizing it. Ethan didn't see math as hard work because he enjoyed it. To him, it was play. Lucas immediately understood the connection to basketball. He practiced without feeling forced because he loved it. Practice, Daniel explained, doesn't always feel like struggle. When joy is involved, effort becomes natural. For the final lesson, Daniel asked Lucas how much better he believed Ethan was at math. Lucas guessed about 3 times better. Daniel then challenged him to study math 3 times harder the next day. Lucas agreed, determined to try. The following afternoon, he sat at his desk and pushed himself harder than ever before. 1 hour passed, then 2. His head began to ache, his focus faded, and exhaustion slowly took over until he fell asleep at his desk. That evening, Lucas apologized to his father, disappointed that he couldn't complete the challenge. Daniel gently placed a hand on his shoulder and told him that he hadn't failed, he had learned. He explained that discipline feels heavy when the heart resists, but when love is present, discipline becomes lighter. That was why Lucas could practice basketball for hours without noticing time. Then Daniel gave him the final piece of advice that would stay with him for life. If you want to master something, either study what you love or learn to love what you study. Years passed and Lucas grew older. He continued playing basketball, but more importantly, he changed the way he approached learning. Instead of seeing math as an enemy, he connected it to real life, tracking scores, managing time, recognizing patterns. Slowly, his grades improved, not because he forced himself, but because he found meaning. Lucas learned something far more important than numbers or sports. He learned that success is not about being better than others, but about understanding yourself. It is about patience, consistency, and aligning effort with purpose. He learned that hard work becomes truly powerful only when guided by passion and awareness. Success does not come from comparison. It does not come from talent alone. It comes from discovering what you love, practicing with patience, and respecting the unique path meant for you. If this story inspired you, helped you reflect, or encouraged you to see yourself differently, please like the video, share it with someone who might need this message, and subscribe for more meaningful stories that help you grow step by step. Thank you so much for spending your time here today. I wish you good health, peace of mind, and the courage to walk your own path with confidence. See you in the next story.